Hey there, folks. It's Nick Hazelton. You're listening to Yakking with Nick. It's been a long time. Yeah, man, it's farming season. It's summer. I can't. It's just too much stuff to do, so I can't really produce content. You guys know that, but I wanted to get some content out to you guys soon, and I'm immobilized for the I don't know how long. Hopefully I'll be healed up soon, but I stepped on a nail recently, and I'm dealing with the complications of that. So that means I can't walk around. I can't do a lot of the things that I normally would do on the farm. So I am relying on other people and doing computer work instead. So I've finished up a bunch of computer work, and I got some newsletters written for my customers to read, for the people that are on my newsletter list for Hazelton Farms. I don't know if I want to tell you guys to go sign up for that, because go ahead. I have to pay money at some point if I get so many contacts, I think. But Active Campaign is pretty cool. It's a nice email thing. But you can go to hazeltonfarm.com and find the sign up for the newsletter thing. You can catch me every once in a while. I'll try to write it. I try to do it more often than I try to do this podcast, but it's not as fun as doing the podcast. And, it takes less time usually, but it's for the business. That usually brings me a little bit more money than this does, believe it or not. You guys have been paying me to not even produce content for the last few months, and I'm kind of upset about it, because this is the thing I realized about this injury too. I don't like relying on other people. I don't like asking other people to do things that I don't like. I don't know are intrinsically valuable. But here's the thing: you're anarchist. You're not doing it because you pity me. You're not doing it because you feel bad for me. I hope. You're doing it because it's intrinsically valuable to support me, and I appreciate that. And it's really cool, and it's nice to have a lot of help while I'm off doing other stuff, because I'd like to produce content, and I'd like to be able to walk and do things for other people too. But it's nice to have help, and it's nice that people are still on Patreon and sending me money every month. $28 a month is what I'm getting, and it's funny. What my Libsyn bill last month, I think I missed maybe 2 months of billing because something happened. I don't even know what happened with Libsyn. It was on their end. I don't think it was my credit card, but they lost my billing information or something. And so I before I could deal with it, my website was down for I don't know, but it's back up, and I didn't have to pay for something. So you guys added some extra cash, yeah. The point I'm trying to make is I appreciate the money, and I'm using it wisely. I'm not buying a lot of drugs or anything with it, so I'm not really buying anything. I'm just gonna stash it away and maybe buying gas every once in a while. But it's really cool to get that, and it's on top of the Libsyn bill. I'm making like $8 a month, so that's really cool. If I could get it to be where I'm making, I don't know. I don't think you'll ever be able to make podcasting happen during the summer. It's just not going to be what Yakking with Nick is. This is just going to be a seasonal show that pops up every once in a while, and eventually I'll get things more streamlined. I'll be able to fit this in more often, and maybe I'll be better at producing content and balancing time someday, and we'll get more regular content. But hey, here's the point. There's some things I want to get to today, and I don't want to just talk about that. But thank you to the Patreon folks, and then thank you guys all for being patient with me as I try to make money at farming. But that's basically what I've been doing. I'm working with some of my buddies who are trying to start up another business, and I think I've talked about that. And I'd like to talk about that more, but it's, it just takes a long time to get stuff done. That's what I'm really realizing. The season is and I guess it's really been, this is the story of my life since I got out of school. It's harder to do the things that you want than you think. It's not just like, oh, I have time, I can do it. It's like, no, there's a lot of other things that want to take your time. It's not just school. It's these habits and these this desire for comfort and entertainment and all these things that just pull at your mental energy and take away your focus, man. People, the lack of money, animals getting out, whatever it could be, dude. There's a lot of things that will sap that focus from whatever it is that you think you want to be doing. And that means you really got to be careful. That means you got to come back to it, and you got to know what you want, and you got to really, really focus on that. And you got to write it down. You got to know it. You got to know what do you want. But that's what I'm doing these days, folks. And I'm trying to stay on top of that. And the big thing that I want is I want to have a farm. I want this thing to work, and it's really, and it's working. I just wanted to keep making it better and making it better and making it better, and it's getting there, and it's really cool. It's always improving, and that, I don't know, I love it, dude. I still love farming. I hope that, I hope that it stays as fun as it is. It's challenging, man. It's really difficult, especially when the days are hot. It's hard to be outside for too long, and I'm like learning the sleep schedule of, how early do you get up, and then how late do you sleep, and can you take a nap midday? And it's hard to get it down because there's just too many things to do. And kind of what I'm learning is, this is the recurring lesson: do less stuff. But it's hard because I'm an ideas guy, and I like to come up with ideas of what to do. But actually doing it, man, that's the problem. Part of it is that I try to do too much. Part of it is that I don't. It's like you don't do enough, right? You do too much, so you don't do enough on one thing, and that's like the big deal. It's like I could be planning out how to build something like a fence or whatever, but instead I'm like, I have a plan to build that in my mind, and I'll just use that while I'm, I'll think about it while I'm sorting meat into whatever it might be, dude. I don't know. So anyway, the big things that have been happening since I last spoke to you, as I went to the Michigan Peace and Liberty Festival. That was really fun. I love those folks out there. They're not just people from the Midwest, but it's all over the place, and a lot of the people are from Michigan. And man, I love Michigan. And here's like the main reason I like people from Michigan is whenever I ask where they're from, they pull out their hand and point on it like it's a map, because Michigan is shaped like a mitten, so they like pull out their hand with their fingers. I don't know how to describe an open hand. It's not like they're open, whatever, dude. You get what I'm saying. They pull out their hand and they point to it, and usually they're from around Detroit, so they point towards the thumb or something. And that's how they tell you, and I just think it's hilarious. These silly Midwest people. It's like, I don't know, man. It's great. I really think it's fun. Michigan's a cool place. I like it. It's pretty green, and I appreciate that. But man, the biodiversity kind of sucks. We've got a lot more different kinds of trees than you. And where I was at the Circle Pine Center in Delton, Michigan, is where they host the event every year. And all over that place, there are these little caterpillars. I believe they were called gypsy moth caterpillars, and they were everywhere. And so many of them were just dead. And I'm like, what do they do? And I didn't really explore that with anybody. I probably could have asked, but I always wondered, like, what's the point of these creatures? Why are they here at our event? We're in their woods, right? But why? And what do they do? And why so many? Like, how is there not a bird that can eat these things? And I didn't look it up. Maybe I should look it up, and maybe they're poisonous. I don't know, but apparently nothing eats them because there's millions of them. And I swear, like anything that could just be like, let's eat these gypsy caterpillars would live. They would be top of the food chain, But maybe these caterpillars are only available for some time part of the year. I don't know, man. I don't know. But I thought it was weird that there were a lot of them. I'm stuck on the gypsy caterpillars, but the really cool thing is getting to spend time with folks that I've known, met through online or met last year, and getting to catch up with those guys. And there's some really cool folks out there. There like really is, and it's fun because I get to go to this place where like almost everybody knows who I am, and it's cool because people are very encouraging, and they want to see me thrive, and I don't know exactly why that is, if they're just nice people, but part of it might be that we share similar ideas, and if I can do it, from starting out young, and I can take these and really apply these ideas and apply them to life, that it means that those ideas are successful in some way, right? I don't know if that's something going on in people's heads, but that's, to me, that goes in my head, and I wonder that when I see other young people too. It's like, how are you going to take this? How are you going to use these ideas and skills and knowledge that you learn from these folks and apply it to the rest of the world? Because I kind of grew up, my mind grew up with the anarchists in a way, like from the time I was 14, when I was really, really thinking about stuff, is when that was when I was spending time online, figuring out these libertarian ideals and immersing myself in that philosophy and in that movement. And it's amazing because, that's a unique experience. I think I'm one of the very few young people to grow up in such an environment, and in that way where it's like mostly online, and then I have this other life that I have to deal with too. And it made some very interesting dynamics growing up, man. But I'm kind of like 4 years out of that, 5 years from that, and I've learned a lot, dude, from all those folks. None of those people are stupid. Maybe, I mean, there's a piece of every population, right? But those people are really thinkers, and it's really cool. And they're they think about ideas, and they think about, how do I become free? And that's what I've noticed about the people from Michigan that are different than like the people from New Hampshire. I see a lot more of an interest in doing things that will make you free. And that's really encouraging. It's not so much about the activism or the ideas as much of it is like, I'm living life, and that's cool. I'm doing my thing. I go camping, or I'm pursuing van nomadism. My boy Jeremy's out there fucking living in a car. That's cool. And there's other people that are trying to do the same thing. I think, in fact, my boy, excuse me. Sorry, the big old pause. There's this coughing and stuff. I don't edit the show, and I'm gonna forget that it happened. So I apologize for the silence. But Chris is out there, man. He's out there living in a car as well. I think that's brave. I really do. I can't leave this place for more than long. Like I notice this when I travel. The airports get me the most. It's because there's so many different people. It's so much going on, and that is so much different than my regular life, dude. Like I'm out here in the middle of nowhere. I see a car go by every once in a while, but I don't interact with anybody that I don't know. Seriously, like never. That's not true. I mean, like you get what I'm saying though, right? Like I sometimes use too specific of language or too general of language. I don't know what it is. Let's just throw it to the side and just pretend that I make sense, right? But the airports, there's too many people, and then I'm in a new environment, and it really sets me off, and I'm eating different food that I'm not used to, So all of my systems and I just kind of go out the window, and I get very anxious and nervous and stressed out. And I've noticed that I'm a different person when I'm traveling versus when I'm at home. And it's cool because it's a test, It's nice to do that, and every once in a while I do that, like Pork Fest, and the last time last year when I went to Michigan, and this time. It's a test of like, how well do I do outside of my comfort zone, and it's fun. Like people like me, I think I do a pretty good job. But I tell you what, I think I'm a whole lot more fun when I'm in my place. When it's my world. This is where I'm from. I have a lot more energy and a lot more confidence, I guess. And I don't know why that is, and it might be interesting to explore that and overcome it, but that was just something I noticed. But all those people really make me feel comfortable at Michigan, and it's a real cool place. It's there's nobody there that I'm like intimidated to go talk to. But I don't know. It's just cool. So I wanted to shout out those folks and say thanks, and I will be there next year. So catch me there. Anyway, farming, got my hay up, had a lot of help from so many people, man. It is, I tell you what, I'll tell you what, I've learned that I really just cannot do this stuff on my own. You need division of labor, and I'm really like trying to figure out like how does the group dynamic work that you can make an efficient and effective It's like the same meaning. Group of people, and it's been fun working on this business with my friends. But we're just like figuring out like what it takes to make money, man, and what it takes to do these things that we want to do. And it's way harder than we thought. And this year we didn't, already we can tell we didn't do as well as we hoped. The garden didn't turn out as well as we hoped, and we didn't get the same products, like wild products, that we thought we could. And getting into the market didn't work the way we thought it would. And it's like frustrating when you look at it from those details, when you're like, oh man, let's do this, and let's get that done, and bam, bam, bam. And it just doesn't work out for some reason because of timing and because of, you're relying on certain other people to do stuff, and they have to, control their, they got stuff going on in their own life. And if you don't communicate, then you don't know what the other person's doing. And you're expecting something and you don't get that. And you're like, well, what the hell? And then it's like, oh, well, that person was busy. You can't expect them to give all of their time, right? Or they were doing something that was important to them. And why didn't you do it? Because you were doing something that was important to you too, right? So it's like, how do you balance that, man? And we're figuring it out. I don't know yet, but it's getting there. We're always improving, and I'm really excited for what's going on. We're really trying to build a business off of foraged goods and value-added products, and I really want to be, like we all, at least, the common vision that we have is we want to see a culture and a community come out of this, because the culture that we live in kind of sucks in a lot of ways, man. In a lot of ways, like. And there's a lot of cultural clashes going on, and it's in a way that's like, to me, isn't very helpful. I'm gonna go out on a limb. I'm gonna go out on a limb and say this. You can call me alt-right, whatever. I don't care. I'm not. I love people, and if you're a person, I love you. But food is more important than gender. I'm just gonna say it, right? The environment's more important than gender. Yeah. I think unemployment is more important than gender. These things are more important to care about, and people are going off about Jordan Peterson won't call people that, or whatever, or this is the media I hear, right? Or they're going off of Trump. Like, food is more important than who's president. I can apply that to everything. The environment is more important, right? Who cares what that? I mean, yeah, he's doing stuff, okay, that affects it maybe. And maybe that's important. But here's the thing. You're not actually focusing on those issues. You're focusing on him or gender or whatever it is. These key issues throughout the day. To me, these are distractions. This isn't important. And I listen to a lot of stuff on this even. It distracts me. And I appreciate a lot of the things that you can pull out of the gender debate and how it affects you as a person. It's important, right? And it's important to some people. But guess what? Food is more important. And maybe it's not as important to you, and you're probably unhealthy. You probably don't have a healthy relationship with food in that case. You don't have a healthy relationship with this environment if that's what you really care about. Because guess what's happening? Bad shit. Our soils all over the place are depleted of nutrients. It's crazy. It's crazy if you would learn this. And in my soils, I don't have very much nutrients in my soils, and that's how it's important. I'm a farmer. I've been paying attention, right? And I don't have it working right. So what the hell are you doing, right? Anyway, I don't know why I'm going off about that, but this is my thing. Is like the culture that we live in, and this is what me and some of my friends have noticed is that it's not pushing towards the right stuff. It's not valuing the right things. All this focus on social media and popular culture is not productive towards anything, really. Except I shouldn't say that towards anything, towards something, but. Think about the foundations of what is this planet and what are these people, as a species, as a biological machine. The earth is most important, right? The soil, right? That's where we get stuff. That's where all the minerals are from. The sun is really important, right? Because that's where we get energy from. The raw materials and then the energy. And then think about, what do you eat, right? How do you get the raw materials and the energy? First of all, you need energy to get the raw material. Whatever, this chicken and egg thing, right? Who knows? But you need to eat energy so you can go do stuff, right? So that you can live. And to be able to get that stuff, you need to have the great soil. You have to have a good soil, good enough soils to be able to grow that food and that energy for you, because you're not a photosynthetic being, right? You don't get energy from the sun directly. Vitamin D does something, but you're not transferring, whatever. You're eating stuff. You're eating carbohydrates and fats, lipids to be able to fuel this biological machine that is your body. It's a machine. It's got all kinds of weird little things, little cells that build up this thing. It's a complicated machine, no doubt, but that's what it is, and it requires certain things to run, right? So you have to pay attention to, well, what's in that food? Well, how do you know what's in that food? Well, it's a biological machine too. That cow or that vegetable, it's a biological machine. One of them is photosynthetic, which is cool. One of them is a ruminant species. That means they eat vegetation and then they ferment it in their gut. One of them, they have 2 guts. Then they spit it back up a lot of the time, chew it again, nasty, and then swallow it again into their other stomach. And then they eat that, and that's how they get it. So you have to understand that biological machine. You have to understand how it's getting its food, because if it's not getting the right stuff, you're not getting the right stuff. So you have to make sure that biological machine is working. So you got to understand what grass is, right? So you look at grass, okay, this is how this thing works. And you realize that the things that it needs, same thing, right? It's the sun for the energy and the raw materials from the earth. It gets its minerals and stuff to build itself, and then it gets the energy there, bam, right? To get bigger and keep growing and keep doing the stuff it does. It produces oxygen and provides food source and adds organic material back into the soil, right? Adds those raw materials back when it dies. And that's really important. So you have to understand, like, what is the optimum way to grow grass, if you want to know what the optimum way to grow beef, and if you want to know what the optimum way to grow a human is, right? And so what you do is you trace it all the way back, and you get, well, okay, what do you got to do to grow good grass? You got to have really good soil. And what makes a really good soil? It's, organic material and minerals, the elements of stuff, whatever these things are. I don't know if selenium is, yeah, it is. It's just all minerals. Yeah, like copper and whatnot. All these things, they got to be in your soils if you want really high quality grass. And guess what? Willamette Valley, where I live, doesn't have any selenium. Has barely any copper. The only thing that's really in there is like iron. And I think we lack calcium, all kinds of stuff, all kinds of nutrients. So think about the rest of the world, man. Where are those nutrients? And what are the growing seasons, right? Like, I've got a really long growing season, but Eastern Oregon doesn't, but they've got all the freaking minerals. So what am I going off about? I'm going off about people don't know this. People don't know what it takes to grow food. And you're going off about how we need to care who the president is. We don't even know how to grow. We don't even know how to make ourselves healthy yet. We're going to work on ourselves first, right? That's my philosophy, at least. And so I don't know. I'm upset. I'm going off about things that I can't really control, right? I'm doing what I can, though, right? I don't know, but I'm letting it affect me. That's my point. And I don't need to let it affect me, and you don't need to let it affect you too. But me and my buddies are trying to find a way. This is where I was coming from. So I'm working with some friends from high school, and I'll have them. August has been on the show before, but Brady and Ryan and David haven't. And I want to do this content stuff because it plays in, right? We've got a cool thing going on, and I need to talk about it. We all need to talk about it, and I'm not able to because we're like trying to figure out, well, how does it work? And it's a challenge, man, the balance of time. But what we're seeing is that this culture isn't focused on the right things, and we want to be focused on the right things. And I think that the big thing is, first of all, food, right? That's really important. But the second of all is community. We don't have healthy communities. Not as many as we could. I don't think they are as healthy as they can be. Like my community is probably pretty healthy. But we're not as connected as we could be, I'm raising really high quality meat, and none of these fuckers are buying. I love my neighbors, and I understand why you couldn't buy my meat. It's very expensive, and not all these people can afford it. I would never buy yak meat if I were in the same situation, but like doing something else. If I was a vegetable farmer making the amount of money I am, I wouldn't be buying meat. I don't buy vegetables from people either. I'll have you know that. I sometimes do, right? But and somebody else does it for me. I live with my parents. They buy it. I provide the meat. So whatever. You see what I'm saying though? I understand why people wouldn't buy a very expensive meat from me when you could buy beef, which tastes very similar, not as good, but very similar, for like half the price. You know, it's a different thing. I'll tell you what, because you don't know how food works, right? It's a different thing, but I don't mean to call my neighbors fuckers. That's what I'm trying to get to. But me and my buddies, we're working here. We want to make a community, and I want to work with the people around me. And there's a lot of different pieces to that. But so we want to work on our culture, starting with food and starting with agriculture, because that's the foundation of civilization and humanity to me, is the food and the agriculture. You know, the food is what obviously we run off of. The agriculture is what brought us out of the woods, and or the Serengeti. I don't know, my whatever. You know, you get what I'm saying. Brought us into the house rather than the teepee. No, whatever. You get what I'm saying. I'm pretty sure that's probably accurate. Like a teepee is a movable house or a movable tent, sort of, right? It's a mobile thing, and you probably wouldn't be doing that if you were practicing so much agriculture. You probably wouldn't have as many teepees. Don't know my history. Don't listen to me. God damn it. Shouldn't say stuff like that. You know, I just don't know. But you get what I'm saying. It's like, this is the foundation, right? So I think that we're onto something here. And I think that we got something unique. And I really want to talk about it without saying too much. Because I need them to really talk about it. Because it can't just be me saying this is what it is. Because it's got to come from them too. So, yeah, we're challenging to kind of remain productive and get along and you know, do the things that we need to do while we figure out life as kids, you know, because we're all out of high school, and we're looking at this world thinking, you know, what the fuck are we gonna do? You know, because we have a unique opportunity to do something different. I've got land and I need help, right? So it's a unique opportunity for somebody to be like, hey, I don't need to make a whole lot of money right now, but maybe we could do something that could make us a little bit of money in the future, you know? Because this is the time all our friends are, you know, spending thousands of dollars on semesters at college, you know, and they're learning stuff. I hope that's going to pay off for them, dude. I really hope. I'm not convinced. I did a lot of research on college when I was younger, and I worry how cost effective it truly is. But we have a unique opportunity where we're not making a lot of money right now, but we could, because there's this land that's not being used, it's not being utilized, and we have this drive that's like, we could put this to work, right? But it's that balance. It's that balance of making it all do these things, right? And we'll see if we can do it, guys. We'll see if we can. But we're trying. We're out here farming, trying to make it work, trying to make a little bit of money on the side. So, yeah, man, that's kind of it. We're gardening, working with animals. We're especially goats. I don't really do with the goats, but as a group, you know, those guys kind of they help my dad and my sister, and we all help out the household to try and produce food right now. It's kind of the deal. We're building a trailer pad right now. We just need to smooth out some gravel and pound it down, and then we've been put on some permanent trailer, or not permanent, but you know, trailers. And I'll have a couple guys here with me permanently, which is pretty rad, dude. It's crazy working with your friends from high school. It's fun, man. It's fun. It's a challenge. But it's way better than working by yourself. And it was like, I don't know, man. Like, I get frustrated because I'm a very impatient person. You know, believe it or not. Like overall, I'm pretty patient. But when it comes down to some things, like, if my expectations aren't met, is really what it is. Then I get upset. But most of the time I don't set expectations. This is what I think it is. It's like, I've trained myself to be pretty stoic. So most of the time when I'm thinking about stuff, really, when I'm in my mind, like, okay, I don't get as upset about things. But when I'm out doing stuff and I'm not watching myself as much, I'll set these expectations and be like, oh, this is what's going to happen. And then it doesn't happen that way because it's life. Because sometimes life doesn't do what you think it is because you don't control the variables, right? And I get impatient and I get upset and I'm like frustrated and stressed out and angry, and that's kind of stupid. I'll just say it, it's not what I want to be doing. But I do it anyway. So I'm figuring that out, trying to remain positive and productive and really, really enjoy this. That's what I'm trying to do. And I have to say, it's going all right. It's going pretty well. And we haven't figured out how to make a lot of money for ourselves yet, but it's getting there. Yak meat, man, is doing well. I can't say that I'm like, I've got more work to do. I can become better at this and I can do better at it, I guess. But I'm as confident as I've ever been in this product of me. And, I'm as confident as I've ever been on being able to take care of these animals. I understand a lot more. I went to a camp in Montana. I think I talked about it last time I talked to you guys, but I don't know. But I learned a lot about yaks and ruminant species, and I'm always doing research, and I'm always learning, listening to podcasts. By the way, if you have any farming podcasts that you would like to recommend, please send them my way. I listen to a lot of Permaculture Voices. I listen to Drew Sample's show. I listen to the Survival Podcast. But I need more farming shows. I think there are a few more in there, but it's like other random farmers that I know do podcasts, and they're not usually very regular. But I need more of that. I need more information filling my mind because I listen to a lot of good shows these days. Unfortunately, there are too many podcasts to listen to, but the main one I'm listening to recently has been Theo Vaughn. He's a comedian. This Past Weekend podcast, that's what he does. And I like that dude because he's just so authentic and he's so vulnerable. And I really value that because that's something I've always tried to do in my work. And I recently found him from Joe Rogan's podcast, which I also listen to a lot for similar reasons. He's not as vulnerable and he doesn't explore like the inner workings so much because Joe Rogan's only really doing interviews, right? But Theo Vaughn's kind of using this as more of somewhat of a therapy, and I really like that. I just like hearing what that dude is thinking about, and the people that call into his show, and he's just fucking hilarious too. He's a really funny comedian. I like his sense of humor. I don't know. I like the rural thing. I don't know how rural he is. He's from Louisiana, but he sounds, Southern. So it's funny. And he talks about some things that are just kind of easily relatable if you've grown up around white people and rednecks and stuff, like I have. And so I'll be listening to that, and it's a really good show. But it doesn't. I need more. And I listen to but what I'm trying to say is I need more, like less entertainment and some more information these days, I think. So I'm sort of switching. So if you've got a podcast to recommend, let me know. But if it's not farming, I'm going to get mad. I'm going to be impatient because I'm setting an expectation that you'll send me a farming show, and then you're going to send me a show about some other comedian and be like, oh, you like Theo Vaughn? Check out Chris D'Elia. I already have. Congratulations. I already have. Whatever. Still, like, you can see, like, I kind of get some of my humor from that. Like, I noticed that I like pick up because I think he's hilarious. I think these people are just absolutely funny. And that's why I love comedians. And I try to be funny. I don't want to be a comedian. I don't want to be a stand-up, but I do want to make people laugh. So I try. But what I've learned is, just be yourself, and I'm entertaining enough most of the time, and I'm always getting better, guys. So hey, we're getting about a half hour. Do I got anything else to say? I don't think so. It's getting pretty hot in this room, and I better upload this. By the way, I've got 2 episodes I'm sitting on. Shout out to Chris Stefanik and shout out to Adam Brown and Scott McDonald because I haven't released the 2 episodes I have. I did one with Chris. I got stung by a bee. Ouch. Earlier today. It's a pain, dude. I step on a nail, and I get stung by a bee on my arm. Just hurting a lot, guys. But I've got one on internal family can't say that. On IFS therapy, internal family systems therapy with Chris, and then I have just a fun yakking with Nick with Scott and Adam. Man, I need to release that one. It's gonna make some people upset. We say some ridiculous shit on that show. But it gets fun. We talked about all kinds of stuff, and it was a good show, and it had a lot of good stuff into it. I love those guys at the ANCAP Barbershop. Check it out. I don't know what their URL is. It's like ancapbarbershop.com or something. But if you look up ANCAP, ANCAP Barbershop, you'll find it. They're cool folks. And I haven't listened to one of their episodes in a little bit. They're just funny dudes. I just really like them. I think that they're cool. And I think that they're thinking about the right stuff. And they're just silly sometimes. And I love that too. So we got really silly on that podcast. And I'll have to get that to you guys soon. If I keep injuring myself, you know. Hopefully I'll be. I need to get stuff done on the farm, guys. So hopefully I'll be healed up soon. But once we get these these trailers in, and it'll be more like, because right now I have most of these guys on the farm most of the time, but they, like my friend Brady pretty much lives here, but August and them, they don't really live here, so it's like it's hard to get the momentum, because like you don't know who's gonna be around, because we don't plan that well, because we haven't figured that out yet, but we're getting there. We have ideas, man. It's just like getting the time to do it. It's like, get a calendar, but when do we get a calendar? Because we don't have a calendar to put on to say get the calendar, right? So we need to get a calendar, and we need to organize ourselves in a way that all of us can, manage, and we're learning that. Like, we're reading books on like, well, how does a business work, and like, how do you make sure you're farming right, and how do you, we're thinking about these things, and we're stressed out, man. We're getting frustrated with each other, and not that often. We're doing pretty good right now, but it happens, dude. It happens, and it's normal, because I know that. I know people out there like you who are dealing with people that you don't get along with all the time either. And I bet I get along better with these guys than some of you do with your guys. Anyway. Yeah, I think that's it, guys. Thank you for listening. I hope you will stay patient with me. And what I was saying, when we get the gravel pad out and stuff, people here permanently, we have ideas for podcasts, and we will try to be doing a lot more content, because when we're here permanently with each other, then we're always bouncing the ideas off, and it's gonna work. We'll see, guys. Nothing ever works out how you think it will, and can only hope. Maybe not even. Maybe you shouldn't even hope. That's sometimes what I wonder. I could just keep going about that, but I won't. Thank you guys for listening. This has been Nick Hazelton and Yakking with Nick. Yeah, dude, catch me sometime. What? I don't know, dude. I was about to say catch me outside. I don't even know why. Whatever. Yeah. Yeah, okay, that's what I was trying. I knew I had something else to say. I don't use Facebook anymore, so don't try to hit me up on there. You can use the Messenger app, and you can get a hold of me, but I don't use Facebook anymore. I will I'll probably get on Facebook when I upload this, so I can post it to the group. I will try to use the group, but I cannot stand Facebook anymore. Too much stupid stuff. So if you'd like to interact with me, I'm on Instagram, I'm on Snapchat. Instagram at Nick Hazy. Snapchat at Nickly Pickly, NICKLY PICKLY. Don't send me pictures of your dick. Don't do it. Don't do it. And I don't really use Twitter either, but you can email me at yakkinwithnick@gmail.com if you'd like to stay in touch. But the Yakking with Nick feedback group, I always have that on there, and make sure you check out Patreon. I've got some Patreon only stuff up there, but not very much. Yeah, all right. That's it. Thank you for listening. Bye.